Start. Sir, during the last 7 or 8 years, I have been pressing for coordination between the ministries. Stop. It is not only in the industrial field at this critical junction that you require coordination, but in the educational field also you require coordination between 3 or 4 ministries for raising moral standards. Stop. The ministries concerned are the Education Ministry, the Information and Broadcasting Ministry, the Home Ministry, and perhaps ultimately even the Commerce and Industry Ministry. Stop. The Education Ministry has to see how, in spite of all the education they give, the effects have been nullified. Stop. As far as its moral influence and corrupting influence on the children and the students go through many bad things, bad advertisements, bad posters, and through import of bad literature. Stop. Yeah. Here, I would like to refer to the way in which summary answers were given to questions of members of parliament who have at their heart the well being of the people. Stop. When they ask from where money is got for this, the answer given is that there is no difficulty of foreign exchange because there is some type of arrangement in which foreign exchange is not involved. Stop. The point when the member asked the question was that the government as a whole should apply coordinated though thought to these matters. Stop. They should give thought to the manner in which this type of literature, cheap comics, etc., is brought in. Stop. How these posters are published. Stop. The Home Ministry should see what effects these excited captions on the front page on murder, crime, burning of every kind of thing that is put on paper will have on the youth. Stop. I would very soon say on this rate the reading clientele in India would demand a type of a newspapers similar to the one called the World News in England, which has about 80 pages. Stop. It is called the landlady's paper and it contains all kind of things and also some sport. Stop. I would ask therefore for a reorganization of education. Stop. And I am incidentally called to point out that a new questionnaire has been sent by a committee of which Mr. Sapru, a member of this house, was the chairman. Stop. The object of the committee was to examine in what way education could be made in certain spheres at the university stage a central subject. Stop. It was as a result of the Supreme Court judgment of 21st September 1962 that this committee of members of parliament was set up to see what type of autonomy the universities could have. Stop. The answers collected are there, and I would like to say that the government should treat education as the most important subject and give it a top priority. Stop. I feel it is important now when it is pointed out that there is no emergency. Stop. In normal time, it should have the topmost priority because on that are based all your standards of public life and public morale, and the people are corrupt. Stop. Para. I would like now to refer to the women's education, especially education of the tribal, backward, and scheduled caste women and women coming from villages stop. Whatever the amount of money the government spends on their primary education, you are not likely to see the effects of it after 8 or 10 years because they go back into illiteracy stop. It is normally very easy to say globally that 80% of India's population, or as it is now said, 72% of India's population lives in villages stop. But what are we doing for this 72% of the population in this matter of modern standards of hygienic living, in the matter of family planning, on which we are going to spend rupees 150 crores, not a mere 4 or 5 crores or rupees stop. How are those going to be appreciated, and how are we going to get results for that expenditure from an ignorant and illiterate womanhood stop? Women in that villages have therefore to be given education in centers which can be called home welfare training centers, like those which are run by some missionaries with very good results. Stop. We are giving higher education and jobs on a percentage basis to the men folk of scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, and naturally they would like to marry women from their community with some understanding of modern India. Stop. I do not mean in the sense of fashionable women stop. I have seen these girls who are educated in the home welfare training centers run by the missionaries, where the family spends rupees 2 per month and the mission spends rupees 25 per girl per month stop. They are very modern in the sense of using lipstick and perhaps modern earrings and otherwise every type of education that any girl would use in her daily life, like any girl in the Lady Irwin College is given, along with religious training to these girls who come from the rural areas stop. Therefore, coordination between the home ministry and the education ministry should be there stop era. Sir, the education ministry has two branches, social welfare and National Council for Women's Education stop. If they pool their resources and take up this experiment of running forthwith at least 4 such centers per state, they will see how popular these centers become stop. I have visited these centers, though the course is for 2 years. The course is for women between the age of 16 to 17, and I have seen how these girls are taken away in marriage by those newly appointed officers of the tribal classes. Stop. Therefore, if we really want to do something for the tribal people, we should appoint these centers stopera. One thing more I would like to touch upon stop. The government does not care to see what recommendations the various committees make stop. I refer to the committee which was under the Social Welfare Board before the National Council of Women's Education came in, and that committee had made a firm recommendation stop. Thank you.